Imagine you grew up with nothing. You watched your parents work 60-hour weeks and still come up short at the end of the month. So you told yourself, that won't be me. You worked harder. You saved. You took the extra shift. And yet here you are, in almost the exact same place they were. It's not what you think. Now, here's the part that nobody talks about. And honestly, it shook me when I first discovered it. Because what's keeping people poor isn't laziness. It's not a lack of ambition, a bad neighborhood, or even bad luck. It's your brain. It's a specific set of psychological traps, invisible, deeply wired, and running on autopilot that make poverty self-reinforcing. And the moment you understand them, everything changes. But before we go deep, I need to tell you about a discovery. In 2013, two economists at Harvard and Princeton released a paper that the financial self-help industry absolutely did not want you to read. They found that poverty, the actual experience of not having enough money, measurably reduces your cognitive capacity, not permanently, not because of genetics, but right now in real time. They called it the bandwidth tax. And when I tell you what that actually means for your decisions, your relationships, and your future, you're going to look at the entire pull yourself up by your bootstraps conversation very differently. Stick with me until the end of this video, because the payoff, the thing that explains why willpower alone will never work, that comes last. And it's not what the gurus are selling you. Let's start at the very beginning. Here's something that sounds counterintuitive at first. The more you struggle financially, the worse your financial decisions get. And that's not a character flaw. That's neuroscience. Researchers Sendhil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir ran a now famous study on sugarcane farmers in India. These farmers receive one large payout per year right after harvest. So for part of the year, they're flush. The other part, they're broke. Same people, same farm, same intelligence. But when researchers tested their cognitive performance, their IQ scores were essentially the same farmers scored significantly lower during their lean months. We're talking a 1-3-point IQ drop equivalent to chronic sleep deprivation. Why? Because scarcity hijacks your attention. When you don't have enough money, your brain becomes laser focused on that problem. Every spare moment of mental energy gets tunneled toward, how do I cover rent? Can I make this paycheck stretch? What if the car breaks down? Mullainathan calls this tunneling. You're so focused on the immediate crisis that you completely lose the ability to think long term. That gym membership you keep forgetting to cancel? Tunneling. The payday loan with the 400% interest rate? Tunneling. The career opportunity you didn't even apply for because you didn't have the bandwidth to research it? Tunneling. It's not stupidity. It's an overloaded operating system. Poverty doesn't just empty your bank account. It taxes your mind. Now, this explains why poor decisions happen, but what I'm about to show you next reveals the invisible system that keeps them locked in place. And it starts forming in the first years of your life. Let me ask you something. What did money mean in your house growing up? Was it a source of constant anxiety? Something people fought about? Because here's what neuroscience has confirmed. Your brain's relationship with money was largely wired before you were 10 years old. Children don't just learn from what they're taught. They learn from what they observe. If you grew up watching your parents panic every time an unexpected expense hit, your nervous system learned money equals danger. When the pattern is having money leads to conflict, stress, or loss, your subconscious mind will actually sabotage your attempts to accumulate it. This is called a money script. Things like, money is evil. Rich people are corrupt. We're just not the kind of people who get ahead. You didn't choose these beliefs. You absorb them. But it gets deeper than beliefs. It goes into the body itself. Epigenetic studies show that the physiological response to chronic financial stress can literally be inherited. You didn't just inherit your parents' economic circumstances. In some cases, you inherited the nervous system that responded to those circumstances. The poverty trap isn't just in your head. It's also built into the architecture of the system around you. Consider this. In the United States, the average payday loan carries an annual interest rate of over 400%. The people who use those loans aren't uninformed. They're out of options. Research from Nobel Prize winner Angus Deaton demonstrates that the poor pay more for almost everything. They pay more per unit for groceries because they can't buy in bulk. They pay more for transportation because older cars break down more. There's a saying in economics, it's expensive to be poor. The wealthy benefit from compound interest. Their money makes more money while they sleep. The poor, by contrast, pay compound interest. Their debt makes more debt while they sleep. People break out of poverty every day, but it's orders of magnitude harder than the motivational speakers would have you believe. There's a phenomenon in psychology called identity foreclosure. For people raised in poverty, one of the most common foreclosed identities is, I am not someone who has money. James Clear says, every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. are. But every financial decision you make that aligns with, I'm the kind of person who's broke, reinforces that identity. This is sometimes called learned helplessness. When you've been told the future isn't yours to shape, your brain starts to believe it. You can change your habits and your income, but until you change your answer to the question, who am I? The old patterns will keep dragging you back. Behavior follows identity, not the other way around. Remember the bandwidth tax? The solution isn't discipline, it's slack. Slack means mental and financial breathing room. When you have even a small buffer, your cognitive bandwidth opens up. Your decisions get better, not because you're smarter, but because your operating system has room to run. Change starts with a single, tiny, identity-consistent action, not a revolution. A vote. You save $10 this week, not because it changes your net worth, but because it is evidence that you are the kind of person who saves. You read one chapter of a book because it is evidence that you are the kind of person who learns. The poverty trap is real, but so is neuroplasticity. You rewire the pattern by choosing a different identity, one small vote at a time. Tonight, not tomorrow. Tonight, I want you to do a 10-minute exercise. Write down the 3 money beliefs you grew up with. Then, next to each one, write, is this actually true, or was it just the environment I was in? The poverty trap is a story we inherited before we were old enough to question it. And you can't rewrite a story you've never read. Go do the exercise. The work starts tonight. You are not lazy. You are terrified. You are terrified that if you actually become wealthy, you will lose your identity. You'll lose the connection to your family, your friends, and the version of you that you've known for 20, 30, or 40 years. For many of us, staying poor is a way of staying loyal to our roots. And that is the most painful realization of all. To win the war against poverty, you have to be willing to kill your old self. So, how do we fix a thermostat that's been frozen for decades? It starts with micro-defiance. Every time you choose to invest an hour in a skill instead of mindlessly scrolling, you are defying the script. Every time you save $1 when your brain screams to spend it, you are rewriting your DNA. But there's a catch. You can't do it alone. The crab mentality is real. When one crab tries to climb out of the bucket, the others pull him back down. Look at your circle. Are they climbing with you, or are they the hands reaching up to pull you back into the mud? This is the moment of choice. You are currently standing at the intersection of what has always been and what could possibly be. The gap between those two roads is where your life happens. I didn't make this video just to give you facts. I made it to start a conversation that we usually only have in our heads at 3 a.m. I want to ask you something deeply personal. And I want you to be brutally honest in the comments, not for me, but for the thousands of others reading them. What is the lid on your jar? Is it a memory of your father struggling? Is it the fear that you aren't smart enough for the big leagues? Or is it that haunting feeling that people like us just aren't meant to be at the top? I want you to share that one moment where you realized you were stuck in the cycle. Because when you type it out, it stops being a ghost. It becomes a problem you can solve. Read the comments. You'll see people from New York, London, Dubai, and Dhaka all saying the same thing. Wait, I thought it was just me. It's not just you. It's all of us. The poverty trap is a masterpiece of psychological engineering. But you are a masterpiece of human resilience. Don't just watch this video and go back to your old life. Let this be the glitch that restarts your system. Change your temperature, break the thermostat. I'll be down there in the comments, reading your stories, and replying to as many as I can. Let's build something better than a bank account. Let's build a new mindset. This is Build Anything, and your reconstruction starts right now. I'll see you in the next one.